Dan Ives, let's start off with you. Talk to me about earnings. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I get in terms of like people will pick about whisper numbers for the October quarter, and to me, it's a masterpiece. I mean, in other words, like there's no way that you could deny this revolution's happening. And I think it's not just about the numbers that they put up in terms of 30 billion, 32 and a half, that's probably gonna be closer to 34 billion. Blackwell delays, all the sort of noise, put that to rest. All right, stock takes a little breather, it gets hit a bit. I think it goes higher. I think it's an all-time, it goes into all-time highs, and this thing gains steam because the most important thing, and I think you guys have talked about it, it's derivative. Second, third, fourth. What does it say for Salesforce, ServiceNow, Palantir, Microsoft, Oracle, hyperscalers? It's $1 trillion of capex. It's a fourth industrial revolution. You come off that call, I think it's more of a you get the popcorn ready, and now it's waiting for the second, third, fourth derivatives.
Yeah, I'll double down on that. I mean, I've talked about network effects. I've said, we've seen net zeros, net one. So all the designers, chip manufacturers, everybody involved in this, in the semiconductor supply chain should be doing well. The ones that are going to do well are doing well. And then you got kind of this flow out. The OEMs, we've seen some boom bust. They've got to figure out how to add more value, make more money, but they're getting the opportunity by being attached. The Dells and HPs, it's up to them to figure out how to attach the services. The layering of the cake with the devices we just talked about, with the applications talked about, ServiceNow, Raptor, the Now platform, Salesforce, Benioff came out this week, really ambitious. But look, the other thing, I know we only have a few minutes. I want to make sure, Pat, you get to talk before Dan has to leave, but I really get frustrated with this whole, kind of people looking at a digestion. This is not the internet cycle. We're not going to see this thing implode the way the internet imploded. It's a different cycle. There is a digestion period. When you spend 100 to 200 billion in capex, you cannot stand that up, offer services, instantaneously show revenue. And Satya, Zuck, Sundar, they're all basically sitting there. They're saying, we will not let this cause our demise by not investing enough. They all understand it. And so when all the bears are like, oh, there's no one using it. First of all, Pat, you gave a bunch of great instances where they are, and that's just BS. They are using it, but we do need to understand there is digestion between the capex in and the opex out.
No, this is good stuff. And listen, I net it out like this. There's nothing stopping this train for 12 to 18 months. Downstream does not matter for 12 to 18 months. You've got hyperscaler FOMO, right? Nobody, whether it's Meta, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, it's pedal to the metal on capex. And until we see their investors demanding reduced capex, the beat really goes on. And I want to hit the growth areas really quickly that I don't think people are fully comprehending. The first build out was with the hyperscalers. The next build out is in tier 2 CSPs, and we heard Dell talk about this last night. And let's put Supermicro aside for a second, but Supermicro and Dell are the tier 2 CSP drivers. The third element is the enterprise, and we saw a little bit of that outlined. And right now, as Dell's Jeff Clark said, the enterprise is really in phase 0, moving into phase 1 POCs. Third growth area is content, right? They're not just selling GPU chips. They're selling racks. They're selling trays. They're selling GPU chips. They're selling multiple networking chips. And oh, by the way, they're selling cables. And let's not forget software. Every new generation, including Blackwell, we have seen NVIDIA sell more software. And that software started off, 15 years ago as low-level drivers. And here we are with Blackwell generation called NIMs. And these are actually microservices applications. And you're seeing them be spit out or cranked out by multiple ISVs. And this is essentially the easy button for driving this forward. Yes, there's competition, but it's not going to matter because the market is growing so heavily. Biggest competitor are hyperscaler, their own custom ASICs. AMD is the closest direct competitor, and they will likely end the year, I believe, at 10% market share, not for the whole year, but ending their calendar year. We will see Intel likely making an impact in 25 and 26. They're making a small impact with current Gaudi today, but it's only at $500 million. And compare that to AMD, who's at $4.5 billion forecast. All right, guys. Dan, we got to get you out here to go on more TV shows, talk to all
I'm
of
going
your
to Asia.
clients.
I'm going to Asia again this week. So again, it comes down to that's where, like I always say, you can find AI revolutions in the 10th floor of your office building of Metro North or Jersey Transit. And that's why I think many of the bears, they continue to focus on their spreadsheets and try to find AI in their spreadsheets.
Hey Dan, just as you run off, two things. One is I'll be running to Berlin for I'll be at IFA checking out what they're doing on these devices. But Pat, I think we need to give Pat a shout. I need to commend this nerd. We were Gen AIing what sort of differentiates each of us as analysts. We're having a little fun, and Pat is the deep technical guy. Did you see this guy call out the mask change on Fort? He called out the mask change in real time.
Oh, I appreciate that.
But look, Patrick's like, here, hold my rosé. Let me deal with this.
Well, it was kind of funny. Now, I felt a little bad because I literally brought this out live on CNBC. Nobody was talking about it. Stock dips, and I'm reading from CFO, and it's like, what's a mask set? And it was funny. I was like, I've never really had to explain a mask set. I tripped a little bit, and then about a minute later,
deep diver.
No, I really do try to simplify it, man.
You said Bloomberg's headline said that they had a mass change. They didn't.
Mass.
Jensen said, I know, but the headline was mass change, MASS change.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for having me. Awesome. Thank you for everyone watching.
Take care, buddy. There we go. Buddy. Dan Ives. That was fun. Now it's back to us. This is good. No, I appreciate. By the way, Bloomberg deleted that tweet.
Did they?
Yeah.
That was a mass change. That was actually not just a tweet, though, Pat. That was actually the name of the article. There was an article headline, and then it was the whole thing. So, I mean, look, I actually will tell you, I listened to him, and if you're not a real techie and you're not familiar with what a mask change is, and I mean, I know more about it now than I ever did. I'd heard the term. That was as far as I'd really ever spent, and you listen to Jensen, you might not have heard that clearly on the first listen.
Yeah. So every chip change that you make, I'll call it a metal spin, as opposed to like a poly spin, needs a new mask. And a mask is what is created to go into a foundry like TSMC, Samsung Foundry, and IFS.